and welcome back to Fiddle Up. I am Emerald Ray, and we are going to be learning Scotland the Brave today. I'm very excited about this. I really love this tune. It's one of the most common ones and super overdone, but we're going to do it anyway just because you need to know it. It's one of these need to know tunes. And we're going to be doing a very very simple fiddle version of this tune. And I'll explain to you what the difference is between the fiddle and the bagpipe version. And I will give you the bagpipe version, at the end so you can know what that is. So you can kind of make some little adjustments. But this is a really nice one to play just as the fiddle version, which isn't that much different. It's just got a G sharp instead of a G natural. And we'll talk about all that in a second. But let's just get stuck right into the tune. So we're going to start on your open A string. So we're going to be working with a regular natural A major scale with a high 2 here on your G sharp, on your second finger on your E string. So that's going back to our scales that we were talking about before. You're going to start on your open A string, and then 1, high 2, 3. So that's A, B, C sharp, D, to your open E string, F sharp, G sharp, high 2, and then A, 3. Okay, so the first phrase starts out like this. So pretty simple. A, B, C sharp. So we're just starting with open A, 1, 2. So watch the bowing here, because the bowing is going to go down, up, and down, and up. So we're going to get into a rhythm with the bowing here. So down, up. So there's just a little slur in there. So this is all on the A string. So A, 1, 2, A, 2, E. Sorry, excuse my squeak. So let's do it. Open A. So that's A, B, C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E. And then we're going to the high A. So that's up to the third finger on the E string. And I'm coming down to my G sharp there, just high 2, right tucked up right next to my third finger. And that's just a nice little arpeggio coming down. So just like we did coming up in the last phrase, and now we're coming down, that is an A major arpeggio. So we've talked about that before a little bit, but anytime you have your notes outlining a chord like that, that's called an arpeggio. So learning your Italian phrases for the day. There's a lot of Italian terminology in violin music. So let's start off with let's see if we can do all that together. And then after that, you're just adding. Okay, so let's start off from the top again. And now we're gonna get getting up to the A on the top of your E string, and then coming back down again. So that's open E, C sharp, second finger on the A string, and open A. There we go. Da 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 dee da 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 da. So I'm sure you've heard this before, which is why I'm going a little bit fast, but we'll slow it down for just a little minute. One more time. Fabulous. Heading on to the next phrase. So starting off on your third finger on your A string, that's a D. And then going up to your F sharp on your E string, that's first finger on your E string. So I'm doing a little bit more slurring in this tune. So watch my bow. I'm going down, up. And then the next little piece is. So that's very similar to those little arpeggios that we were doing. So we're going to start in the middle this time and go back up and then back down. So that's second finger on the A string, starting with your high 2, C sharp, up to the open E, back down to your C sharp, and then open A. So that whole phrase together is. D, F sharp, D, C sharp, E, C sharp, A. Very good. And now the next phrase is really easy. We're going to start off on your first finger on your A string. That's a B. Nice and easy. So nice big B here. Up to the open E. I'm going to put my first finger down on the E string for an F sharp. So B again. So yeah, what I'm doing after that is starting on the B, open E, up to the F sharp, and then I'm coming down the scale here. So open E, and then third finger on the A string, that's a D, and then down to the C sharp, and down to the B again. Okay, so we've done quite a bit. So let's go over everything that we have so far so we don't get lost. So starting from the top, we have. So if that seems like a lot of notes, don't worry, it is compared to what we've been doing before. This one's kind of fiddly and squirrely, getting into more complicated tunes here. But once you get it all down, all those patterns, you know, all of these tunes are just full of all of these little patterns. And once you kind of get used to them, then they go by a lot quicker. But in this beginning phase, it's just a lot of repetition and a lot of learning these patterns for the first time, which is laborious, but it's worth it because once you get these patterns in your head, you'll be able to learn the tunes really fast. So once you get up to higher, intermediate, advanced level, you'll be able to hear tunes, you know, just a few times, or be able to listen to them in the car for a little bit and then be able to absorb it and know what's going on, and you'll be able to pick up the tunes really fast. So it is a learning curve. It's slow at the beginning, very, very fast at the end, I promise. So let's play that as we have it so far. Da 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 dum da 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 da. Okay, so the second half sounds like this, continuing on right from there. So all we have to learn is that last little phrase there. Super simple. So that's first finger on your A string, that's a B, to open A. So it's B, A, B, A. There we go. So nice and simple. So let's try the whole A part together. Are you ready? Da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 da. So let's head on to the B part here. So that's the first phrase. So we're going to start off with second finger on the A string or your C sharp. So this is an arpeggio too, but it's inverted. So you're going to start on the C sharp up to the open open E. And then now we're going to play the A, the third finger on your E string. That's the top A. Second finger on the A, C sharp, open E, and then up to 3 on the E string, A. So when I get up to the top A, I'm going 3, 3, 2, 3. So I have my second finger right next to the third finger there. And then I'm following that same arpeggio all the way down. A, open E, second finger on the A string, C sharp, and then open A. So with the pickup, it sounds like this. Da 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 da. Okay, so the next part is really easy because we're really just going to repeat that again. So far we have. And then just go up to your top A and play that part again. So all together it sounds like this. Da 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 da. And then this is my favorite part. Isn't that exciting? Just builds up a whole bunch of excitement there. So that little phrase, right after we did that phrase 2 times, we'll start on your third finger on your E string up on the top A. So this is really easy. You just have to get the timing right. So it's 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, open 3, 2, 1. Super easy. So we're going to start up on the E string at the top. So the notes we're working with are A, high 2, G sharp, and then first finger, what is that? F sharp, thank you. Thank you, brain, for telling me the letters. Okay, so 3, 3, 2, 1. And then do that fast again. And then one more time. So as you can see, the rhythm changes a little bit. It's better if you just listen to it a couple times. So I'm going to play it a couple times and then sing it a couple times, and hopefully it will go in. Okay. Da 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 da. Da 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 da, 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 da. So we'll keep going this time because makes a little bit more sense in context. So I'll play that for you so you can see what it looks like. So once we've got done with all of this excitement up on the E string, open E, and then do your third finger, second finger, first finger on the A string. So that's D, C sharp, and then B. So I'm doing all those notes very pointedly on purpose because that's kind of how the tune sounds. This is kind of like the big exciting part of the tune. Dum, bum, 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 bum. And it's a pipe march. Don't forget, this is a bagpipe tune. So what I want you to visualize when you close your eyes is I want you to imagine a huge pipe band marching with their kilts swinging back and forth. That's what you want to be thinking about when you're playing this tune. So let's try that again. Got it? Okay, cool. So you know the rest of this tune because we're going to go back and play a section of the A part again. We're going to do a big, what's called a tag at the end. A tag is when you go back and chop a section off of the A part and put it at the end of the B part. And so what we're going to play at the end is this. So as you can see, that's pretty significant. This is actually the whole second part of the A part. So I'll play you the B part here so you can see what that sounds like. Easy, right? So let's do that a little bit slower and start from the beginning. So you're going to start with that little pickup there. Let's sing it together. Da 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 dum da 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 da. made it through the whole tune. Okay, so let's start off from the very beginning. Da 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 dee, da 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 da. Are you ready? 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's take this up to the next level. So this will be really easy to start with some really simple double stops. Because this is a bagpipe tune, bagpipes always have drones going all the time on A or on B flat. So be aware of that. If you see, there's different types of bagpipes. The one that you'll most commonly hear these ones on are the Great Highland bagpipes, the one that you see marching around in pipe bands, and the ones that are too loud to be indoors. And they're really wonderful. They're actually a war instrument. That's something to know about why they're so loud. They're actually made to be played out on a battlefield. They're not supposed to be in the house. But we love them so much. Sometimes we play them indoors, but they are technically an outdoor instrument. Just so you know. Fun fact about the Great Highland bagpipes. And so they are also in B flat. They used to be in A, but to make them sound as scary and unearthly as possible, they hiked it up to this sort of weird B flat that isn't quite B flat either. So you can't play your fiddle along with a set of big pipes, just so you know, unless they are somebody who has an A set. But there's other things you can do. There's other sets of bagpipes. If you run into a bagpiper, they will know the deal. They will be well aware of the problems and may be able to solve it. You can either tune your fiddle up, or you can play in B flat, which is, you could use your first finger and transpose up. That's generally what I like to do. Because the tuning's a little strange, it's good to be able to tune to the pipes, which may not be exactly where they say they are. These are ancient instruments and they tend to float and be fussy, and that's how it goes. So if you're playing with a piper, that's step 1 is you'll have to figure out the tuning. Step 2 is you will be changing your top G sharp from a G sharp to a sort of in-betweeny G natural. So I'll quickly play you what that would sound like. So scale-wise, you're going right to what's called a Mixolydian scale in music theory terminology, but we just know this is a pipe scale, and that's A, B, C sharp, D, open E, F sharp, and then G natural-ish. So I would use just regular G natural, but it is a little bit higher. You'll notice if you get into microtones and stuff like that, it's like not quite there. It's ancient music after all. And up to the A at the top. So all you do is substitute a G natural for all of those G sharps that we did up at the top. And it sounds ancient and spooky and weird and fun. So there you automatically have two different versions of this tune right there. Another thing that you can do, which you should do, is add some double stops. And you can do this with both the G natural or the G sharp versions, both the fiddle and the straight up pipe versions. And so what you're going to do is just play your A and your E the entire time. Quite literally. You'll put a little extra emphasis on whatever string you're playing the melody on. But basically you're going to kind of honk on both strings most of the time. So this is a good way to get used to double stops and used to double stopping. So you can play both strings and it sounds like this. So I hit the D string a couple times there. When I went down to the D on my A string, I hit the open D, and I ended with an E. I put up my first finger on my D string and give myself a little bit of a final sounding chord at the end there. Another you can do is add some ornamentation, which so the ornamentation when you're doing all those double stops tends to get obscured a little bit. So I'll take the double stops out for a second and just do them on their own so you can hear what they sound like. So I'm using a little trill on my third finger there. So starting from the top. So up at the top there, I'm using my fourth finger and going. In classical music, this is called a mordant, but we don't have a word for this. It could be called a roll or a burl or something like that, but it's just a little thingamajig. There isn't like standardized terminology for fiddle ornamentation, so sorry, bear with me. Everybody has a different name for these things. I don't tend to name things, so you know, I just kind of consider them all to be trills, and you do them in different orders. But that's a pretty common little pattern that shows up in Scottish and Irish music, to do a trill above and then go down to the note below. And if you do it really fast, it's technically considered a roll, like in Irish music. So you can just kind of throw some, for the rest of that part, you can throw some trills in here or there or everywhere. That's at your discretion, and it's whatever feels comfortable in your fingers. So moving on to the B part, I might play something like this. So I was just kind of adding a few trills again. Those were both third finger trills. And right at the end there is what we call a scrunch. And that's when you take your third finger on your D string, or whichever string, but it most commonly happens here, going up to your A, and then you slide your fourth finger up. And I'm playing my A string at the same time, so I'm grabbing a third finger there and putting my fourth finger down to give myself what's called a unison. So that's generally how you would do a big dramatic ending for a tune or a big start to a tune. You can add a little scrunch in there. So that's it for this tune. I hope you enjoy this one, and I hope you play it often, because you're going to hear it often if you go to any Scottish Highland games or all that. You're going to hear it all over the place. So that's it for this tune. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.